I think, first of all, man, congratulations to Boston College. They were very well prepared. They executed very well. They had an exceptional plan versus us in all phases. And I think we're the better coached and the better prepared and the better executing football team today. My job, and I'm responsible for how our players play. And so our players, they do the best they can, and clearly then they weren't prepared in a manner to have the kind of chance they needed to play at a higher level. So I'm anxious to learn from this as much as possible. There's lots and lots to learn. It exposed all kinds of new things for us to work on. And with that, hopefully comes growth and progress, as hard as it is to handle. So, yeah, I'll take questions.
Bronco, BC's quarterback came in completing just a little better than 50%. He had 19 of 24 today, no picks. What was he able to do to get comfortable?
Oh, I think the plan they had was really good. That there was no way that they were going to allow him to be sacked. So the ball was coming out very quickly with man-to-man type of beating routes, and he was delivering the ball on time to well-executed routes, and consistently, and then on play action to where he's athletic enough, he bought enough time for routes to develop, a first route, a second route, or even a third route sometimes. And that combination between those two things really gave us problems. And right from the beginning, and very surprisingly, because we believe one of our strengths is playing really good pass defense and playing really well on third down. And so they had a very good plan. They executed it really well, and to their credit.
Your guys have had kind of an underdog personality all through the season. This week, everybody's been talking up the team and bowls and everything else. Do you think maybe you lost sight of some of what got you here?
I'm not sure we lost sight of it, but again, I've talked a lot about managing the interference, and I've tried to express week in and week out, at least up to this point, we're just at the very beginning of this program and what I want it to be. And man, I think we all want to skip ahead a number of chapters to see how the story ends, but it's word by word and letter by letter and page by page. And that was driven home today again of where we currently are, where we can be if we're not really well prepared and really precise and compete at an elite level, and if you have an injury or two along the way, that shows again the impact that some of those things can have.
Coach, you have kind of made your hay this year, being so good on third down on both sides of the ball. At one point, they were 6 for 8.
Yeah.
You guys finished under 50%. What was the difference on third down today?
I think their plan offensively, I think it was the best plan that we have defended to this point. And so I give their coaches credit and their players credit for executing it really well. Again, the thought was this was going to be a really physical game and a run-oriented game. Really, if you look at their yardage and points, a lot of it was around us and over us rather than through. And so really the game took on really a different context than what I had anticipated. And our adjustments weren't effective in terms of countermeasures. Conversely, I think when our defense plays well, there's kind of an energy of our team, and I think it affected probably our entire team, including our offense, that there was some surprise there that they were able to hold on to the ball, convert third downs, and move it.
Bronco, you mentioned the tackling, the defense too. Was the tackling just bad execution, the containment? What did you see there?
The only tackling that I recognized that I found fault with our run fits, especially on the perimeter. We had misfit a number of times on the perimeter, and then I think the only other time it was really exposed is quarterback scramble. That allowed a number of third downs to convert. In terms of tackling the running backs, there was a third down early on. 1, 2, or 3 guys on the far sideline had a shot. But I didn't see it being much different than what it has been, other than the execution was allowing the angles to be off, and plays we normally make, we didn't make, and we didn't make them repeatedly. A lot of that has to do with preparation, and as the team starts to move forward, and as this resiliency piece starts to build in, which we had shown a lot of resiliency, when you get to about this point, almost every player on the team now is having to battle something to get healthy enough to play and practice long enough and get enough repetition to be able to play, and that's something else we're going to have to manage really effectively going forward.
I don't know that there was a turning point in this game, but the 76-yard pass on the play where it appeared the clock had expired, it looked like some of your guys rose up that they may have been looking at the clock, and you called a timeout. And like, what all did you find out?
All I was trying to do is get the officials' attention, and called timeout to do it. That the clock had expired, and they missed it. And I don't know if that's the turning point or not, and I can't, justify that, but that was just one of those cases where that's what I thought and wanted to make it my point enough even to use the timeout.
Bronco, you mentioned some of the guys nicked up, a little beat up. At the beginning of the season, you talked about depth maybe being an issue for this team. Could that be another thing that really is starting to take effect? Or
Yeah, and I want to be really careful not to say that is the reason. I didn't prepare the team well enough today to play the way that I want us to play and the way they wanted to play. In our secondary in particular, man, it affected us, and so we've got to find a way just to get as many guys healthy and back as fast as we can at that position, especially based on the type of defense we've been playing, the style we've been playing.
Quarterback playing decisions can be a lightning rod. You made a decision today to play a true freshman at quarterback. What went into that decision, and what's your plan for that going forward?
Our quarterback's getting hit and getting banged up, and we think we have a lot of football ahead of us still, and it wasn't conceding anything other than we need him, and he's starting to get beat up. So.
Coach, you mentioned the 176-yard play. There were a couple big plays there early in the game that set you guys in a pretty early hole. Would you consider those kind of the turning points, and what kind of impact did those have on the game?
Yeah, my message to the team at halftime, and again, I'm speaking defensively, which I thought controlled the game and the momentum. There were 3 giant plays the first half. There was a fly sweep that, again, we didn't fit correctly, and it went the entire distance. There was a gadget play where a flea flicker, and we had 2 players back there, and somehow they catch it and we don't, which I thought that was going to be an interception. And then there's a screen pass that we actually have a screen defense called for and don't execute it, and it goes the whole way. So 3 giant plays in the first half. That, to me, is the first half. There's 21 points. And again, I'm not going to take anything away from Boston College because they executed those 3 plays well. But I'm upset with our guys because they're all defendable, and I expect that to happen.